welcome back at the Copenhagen Democracy Summit. I hope you had a wonderful and nice coffee break, and we are going to continue right away with the speech of the Armenian Prime Minister Nikol Phashinyan. Welcome, Mr. Prime Minister.
Thank you very much. Dear participants of the Copenhagen Democracy Summit, ladies and gentlemen, it is my honor and privilege to have this opportunity to share with you the challenges that Armenian democracy is facing. The good news is that democracy has indeed become a reality in Armenia. But what has changed for citizens of Armenia by real democracy? Before the 2018 Velvet Revolution, in our country, massive electoral frauds were the usual companions of elections. There was no trust among the citizens that there is a real chance for them to elect and form the parliament and government. Now the situation is totally different. Citizens know that they are powerful enough to decide. The two general elections that were held in Armenia after the Velvet Revolution have international community. Armenia made huge progress in strengthening the democratic institutions, an achievement which is very well reflected in various reputable democracy indexes. Now we are the 43rd in the Reporters Without Borders Freedom of Speech Index, compared to 79th place in 2017. Categorized as having partially free internet in 2017 by Freedom House, now we enjoy the status of country with free internet. In the Transparency International Corruption Perception Index, Armenia is now in the 62nd place instead of 107th in 2017. In the Economist Intelligence Unit's Democracy Index, now we are 84th compared to 111 in 2017. In order to assess this progress, it's essential to note that alongside democratic reforms, Armenia has been contending with external security challenges. 44 days war in Nagorno-Karabakh, invasion of Azerbaijani troops into sovereign territories of Armenia in 2021, in 2022, and occupation of more than 200 square kilometers of Armenian sovereign territories with the indifference and inaction of Collective Security Treaty Organization, the forced displacement of more than 100,000 Armenians from Nagorno-Karabakh have casted doubts among Armenian citizens whether democracy is the right choice or maybe democracy means less security. So democracy needs to prove its efficiency while dealing with security, economic and humanitarian challenges. And we hope to see global democracy standing by us in addressing all those challenges. We are pleased with the deployment of EU monitoring mission alongside the Armenian-Azerbaijani border, and we welcome EU's decision to expand its capacity. On the other hand, we hoped for inclusion of Armenia into the European Peace Facility, and in this regard, we rely on the support of EU member countries. A new set of commitments aimed at strengthening Armenia's economic resilience, state institutions, and addressing humanitarian needs of refugees from Nagorno-Karabakh has been taken on by European Union and United States during the high-level meeting of President of European Commission Ursula von der Leyen, Secretary of State of USA Antony Blinken, and myself, which took place on April 5 in Brussels. The rapid and effective implementation of those commitments is of utmost importance. Ladies and gentlemen, despite all the challenges, we believe that the real and most aspiring companion for democracy is lasting and sustainable peace. And my government took the share of its responsibility for this. Recently, we reached to an agreement with Azerbaijan to start the delimitation of our interstate borders on the basis of Almaty Declaration of 1991. That means that during the delimitation, we should simply reproduce the administrative borders between Soviet Armenia and Soviet Azerbaijan, which become state borders according to Almaty Declaration. The start of border delimitation is the implementation of agreement reached during the quadrilateral meeting of October 6 of 2022 between the President of France, Emmanuel Macron, President of European Council, Charles Michel, President Aliyev of Azerbaijan, and me. It took place in Prague. Now it is time to incorporate and reflect those agreements in the peace treaty and have it signed. Another key point for our regional stability is the Crossroads of Peace project initiated by my government. This project implies that Armenia and Azerbaijan restore and open transport and other communications in accordance with the sovereignty and jurisdiction of the countries through which they pass and comply with the principles of equality and reciprocity. These elements of the concept were agreed upon during the meeting of July 15 on 2023 between the President of Azerbaijan and myself, facilitated by the President of European Council, Charles Michel, and are reflected in the public statement made by President Michel as a result of the meeting. We are ready to move toward the implementation of what has been agreed. Ladies and gentlemen, before answering your questions, I would like to stress that democracy is a strategy for Armenia. In democracy we believe, in democracy we live. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Prime Minister, and I will welcome you on stage for further debate. Thank you very much. Please come here, please.
Yes.
Before we start, I will encourage you again to send your questions through the iPad. I will again try to incorporate them in the discussion. But you mentioned your very particular situation, also security situation of Armenia. Now, Anders Fogh Rasmussen has earlier labeled this your neighbor situation, an axis of autocracies. So it's a very difficult geopolitical and geographical situation. How do you deal with the question of security in that environment?
You know, to be honest, I wouldn't like to comment on the internal situation of our neighboring countries. But from the other side, as I said, democracy isn't something brought by circumstances to Armenia. It was, I believe, it is fully matches with the mentality of our people, and it is a strategy for our government. It is our political belief. It is our political identity as well, because if you would know the record, our political team, the most part of our life, we were fighting for democracy, rule of law, freedom of speech in our country, and now we have opportunity to implement all those values in our country. But of course, the security situation was complicated, and now even more complicated, not only due to our regional situation, but for global situation as well, because obviously a global order is collapsing now, and the it was my assessment, and I guess I shared that assessment publicly as well, that the war that happened in our region, it was kind of prelude of further developments. So now the main issue is security. And what is our strategic view? How are we going to provide security for our country? Recently, I made a speech in our parliament saying that I think that the most important tool for securing or for delivering security, it is the legitimate foreign policy, and that's why we are mentioning so frequently Almaty Declaration of 1991. I would like to share with audience what it is, Almaty Declaration. It was adopted by 12 Soviet republics, pointing out two very important ideas. First, Soviet Union stops to exist, and borders, administrative borders between Soviet Union, between Soviet republics become state borders, because Soviet republics becoming independent countries. So now I think it is very important to know. And in the 6th October in Prague, we had quadrilateral meeting with participation of French president, president of European Council, Azerbaijani president, and myself. And there were two very important agreements reached. First, that Armenia and Azerbaijan recognize each other's territorial integrity and sovereignty on the basis of Almaty Declaration, according to Almaty Declaration, and Almaty Declaration should be a basis for delimitation process of the border between two countries. And now that's why I said that that means that we don't need to create new border between Armenia and Azerbaijan. We need just reproduce the existing border on the ground. So that process is going on, and we hope that we will be persistent on that.
The whole conflict on the border, which we have followed over the past month and years, obviously plays against the background of the broader situation of the relationship with Russia and the role of Russia for Armenia. How would you elaborate this currently?
You know that Armenia is a member of CSTO, and now also formally we are a member of CSTO, but I announced that we have frozen our participation.
Will you stay member, or are you planning to leave?
It is the topic for further conversation, but it is very important to state the current situation. And the problem and crisis in our relations emerged from that point when Azerbaijani troops invaded into Armenia, and according to the procedures of CSTO, organization and member states should support and help Armenia in this situation. But even after official requests, CSTO refused to make some concrete steps, and actually that is the main reason that we have frozen our participation in all level of CSTO.
And now your expectation is that the West steps into the vacuum and provides you with the security?
You know, after our political position and our policy is to diversify our foreign relations in all spheres. Now we are creating some cooperation in security field with India, with France, with other countries, and now we hope to, and now we have some kind of cooperation with the European Union, because as I said, we are happy with deployment in European civilian monitoring mission in our border with Azerbaijan. Of course, it is civilian mission, but from the other side, it is a kind of a new factor in security of our region. And it is first time when European Union somehow is involved in the security agenda of Republic of Armenia.
And it comes with a clear expectation to be member of the EU.
Now we are looking forward, we are waiting for the decision of European Union to include Armenia into European Peace Facility. And we hope to start to have visa liberalization negotiations start. And last year I announced in European Parliament that Armenia is ready to be as close to European Union as European Union would consider possible. And that is our position, and it's still there.
We come to one question from the audience, which also is connected directly to the opportunities that you might have to get closer to Europe, which is, can you elaborate on the initiatives Armenia is taking on to fight corruption?
As I said, we have huge progress on fighting corruption, but unfortunately, we can't say that we have managed to eliminate corruption from Armenia. But what to do? To continue, to be persistent, to be persistent in the democratic reform agenda. And that's why the cooperation with the European Union is of utmost importance for us, because European Union now is our main partner in democratic reform agenda. But we hope that the European Union and United States as well, they will increase the level of supporting us in democratic reform agenda, because, as I said, democracy is a strategy for us, and we need, and we have, by the way, started strategic dialogue with United States in 2019, and now we see the enhancement of our cooperation with the European Union. And recently I mentioned we had a trilateral meeting with United States, European Union and Armenia. And by the way, it was unprecedented format. And we adopted a huge agenda for institutional reforms, for economic reforms, and it is very important that we hope to have more and more support and tangible support from European Union and United States for addressing humanitarian needs of the refugees from Nagorno-Karabakh, which is also very important because it is a very sensitive and emotional issue for Armenians, obviously, and a humanitarian issue.
My last question of this panel will be the last question of my former panel also. If you could name a year when Armenia would be, in your ideas, a member of the EU, what year would that be?
What?
What year, if you could make a wish, Armenia could be member of the EU?
What year?
Yes.
This.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Prime Minister.
Thank you.
Thank you. That's it. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you. And we are going into the next session, and I welcome Susan Lynch on the stage. Thank you.